Najua title deed ni nini?
Najua title deed ni nini. Najua.
Title deed.
What? I've never seen it.
I know what is it.
Title deed.
You say?
Title deed.
Sio ni kama ukinunua shamba lazima ukuwe na kesi jini.
Is a certificate that you are given as a landowner.
Do you know what a registry index map is?
Look at this.
Registry index.
I don't know.
Registry index map. Hiyo siwezi kuielewa vile vizuri sana.
Sijaielewa mzuri.
I don't have an idea about that one.
Registry index map, also known as RIM, I think is just a process in the titling process.
Continue.
A document that is required for the titling process. I think titling is a whole encompassing process that has many aspects to it, and the RIM is one of them.
I think title deed.
Title deed, I mean. As far as any Kenyan knows, title deed or gataito is really the ownership document.
Sio ndio ya muhimu, lazima ukuwe nayo.
God have mercy upon us.
I think both are very much important, but very important in ile registry index. Kwa sababu ukiwa uko na hiyo tuseme in case title deed ikose kuwa available, ni kama vile ukiwa uko na ID but you don't know your ID number.
The streets are calling and we're ready to answer. Not the streets. But anyway, come with me as I go on the streets to find out if people know the difference between a title deed and a registry index map.
Ni certificate ile ya kuonyesha tikiti hii shamba ni yako.
Title deed ni ya shamba. Land ya shamba yako.
Kitambulisho ya land.
Kama shamba ina hiyo, unajua shamba kwanza ukichukua lazima uifuatilie process ujue hii shamba iko na title deed, lakini kama ina hiyo sio shamba. Hata inaweza kuwa nayo lakini mnunue shamba wawili.
Jesu! I want to go home. I don't want to
Registry index map.
Look at this. Hey, nachua hiyo.
Mapa na register lako. Ati?
Sio imenitupa.
Okay. Index number. Registry industry.
Really?
Registry industry map.
God have mercy upon us.
Nishaisikia tu kwa TV wakiongea mambo ya shamba.
Sijua ni nini.
Hiyo labda ndio imekuja juzi.
What do you say?
Inaonyesha mahali shamba yako iko.
Maybe a place where you can get to see all the title deeds.
I think it's a map.
Continue.
Showing the coordinates of all the different points of the boundaries.
Title deed ndio naona ni more important.
Title deed.
To me, it's the second one, the registry.
The map should be more important because if you go to the map and you have a title but you're not on the map, then you don't own the land.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now I know. Oh my God.
Do you have a title deed?
Yes, I do.
You do. Do you have a registry index map?
I don't. Oh my goodness.
Finally, Mazai feels so good.
Tuko take off sasa.
It's another beautiful day here at Grand Acres in Goshen Acquisitions because we get to hand over a title deed to one of our coolest customers. Not that the others are any less cool, but you know, these ones are a bit special because of our relationship, both professional and personal. And so we're handing over a title deed to an amazing piece of land in a place called Imbuko that we sold to Sauti So, one of Africa's top bands, if not the best one, in my view, the soul of Kenya, I like to call them.
Of course, I'm excited. It has been a long time coming, but then it also shows how diligent this process actually is, and to finally get the title deed, and now it belongs to us. It's now ours, like legally, and that for me is something that's very exciting. That now we have such a big piece of land in such a prime area in the country.
Every time we get to hand over a title deed to a buyer, comes with, it's a bag of beautiful mixed emotions. Number one, just a sense of relief and accomplishment that we have completed the task, because we are obligated by the law and by the clauses in our sale agreements to hand over a title deed to any buyer that we've engaged with. And so from that perspective, it's always, I can breathe a sigh of relief because we have kept our promise.
So that you guys are spotted. I'm officially a landowner thanks to Goshen Acquisitions.
So if you, like Sauti Sol, want to own your limited available piece of Imbuko, which is towards the south of Kajiado, just before the Amboseli ecosystem and the national park with stunning, breathtaking views of Mount Kilimanjaro, you want to give us a call as quickly as you can. Go to our website, www.goshenacquisitions.com. You can also call us directly at 0700010001. Again, that's 0700010001. You can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Instagram. Reach out as quick as you can, because we have a very few number of plots or parcels of land available next to these amazing group of guys and every other amazing person who's bought land there. Give us a call as quick as you can. 1 acre plots, residentially zoned, for only 799,000 bobs for each one. Give us a call while supply lasts.
Hi, my name is Polycarp Otieno.
Hi, I'm Willis Austin Chimano.
Hello, my name is Bieneme Alusa, aka Manabaldoman.
Hello everybody, my name is Savara Mudigi, and guess what? I own land in Kenya. Yes, I do!
The streets are calling and we're ready to answer. wait, not the streets. But anyway, come with me as I go on the streets to find out if people know the difference between a title deed and a registry index map.
Ni certificate ile ya kuonyesha tikiti hii shamba ni yako.
Title deed ni ya shamba. Land ya shamba yako.
Kitambulisho ya land.
Kama shamba ina hiyo, unajua shamba kwanza ukichukua lazima uifuatilie process, ujue hii shamba iko na title deed, lakini kama ina hiyo sio shamba. Hata inaweza kuwa nayo, lakini mnunue shamba wawili.
Jesu! I want to go home. I don't want to.
Registry index map.
Look at this.
Hey, inachua hiyo.
Baba na register lako. Ati?
Sio umenitupa.
Index number.
Registry industry.
Really?
Registry industry map.
God have mercy upon us.
Nishaisikia tu kwa TV wakiongea mambo ya shamba.
Sijua ni nini.
Hiyo labda ndio imekuja juzi.
What did you say?
Inaonyesha mahali shamba yako iko.
Maybe a place where you can get to see all the title deeds.
I think it's a map showing the coordinates of all the different points of the boundaries.
Title deed ndio naona ni more important.
Title deed.
To me it's the second one, the registry.
The map should be more important, because if you go to the map and you have a title but you're not on the map, then you don't own the land.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now I know. Oh my God.
Do you have a title deed?
Yes, I do.
You do. Do you have a registry index map?
I don't. Oh my goodness.
Finally, man, it feels so good.
Tuko take off sasa.
It's another beautiful day here at Grand Acres in Goshen Acquisitions because we get to hand over a title deed to one of our coolest customers. Not that the others are any less cool, but you know, these ones are a bit special because of our relationship, both professional and personal. And so we're handing over a title deed to an amazing piece of land in a place called Imbuko that we sold to Sauti So, one of Africa's top bands, if not the best one, in my view, the soul of Kenya, I like to call them.
Of course, I'm excited. It has been a long time coming, but then it also shows how diligent this process actually is, you know, and to finally get the title deed, and you know, now it belongs to us. It's now ours, like legally, and that for me is something that's very exciting. That now we have such a big piece of land in such a prime area in the country.
Every time we get to hand over a title deed to a buyer, comes with, it's a bag of beautiful mixed emotions. Number one, just a sense of relief and accomplishment that we have completed the task, because we are obligated by the law and by the clauses in our sale agreements to hand over a title deed to any buyer that we've engaged with. And so from that perspective, it's always, you know, I can breathe a sigh of relief because we have kept our promise.
So maybe you guys are smarter. I'm officially a landowner thanks to Goshen Acquisitions.
So if you, like Sauti So, want to own your limited available piece of Imbuko, which is towards the south of Kajiado, just before the Amboseli ecosystem and the national park with stunning, breathtaking views of Mount Kilimanjaro, you want to give us a call as quickly as you can. Go to our website, www.goshenacquisitions.com. You can also call us directly at 0700010001. Again, that's 0700010001. You can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Instagram. Reach out as quick as you can because we have a very few number of plots or parcels of land available next to these amazing group of guys and every other amazing person who's bought land there. Give us a call as quick as you can. 1 acre plots, residentially zoned, for only 799,000 bobs for each one. Give us a call while supply lasts.
Hi, my name is Polycarp Otieno.
Hi, I'm Willis Austin Chimano.
Hello, my name is BNMA Alusa, aka Manabaldman.
Hello everybody, my name is Savara Mudigi, and guess what? I own land in Kenya. Yes, I do!
The streets are calling and we're ready to answer. wait, not the streets. But anyway, come with me as I go on the streets to find out if people know the difference between a title deed and a registry index map.
Ni certificate ile ya kuonyesha tikiti hii shamba ni yako.
Title deed ni ya shamba. Land ya shamba yako.
Kitambulisho ya land.
Kama shamba ina hiyo, unajua shamba kwanza ukichukua lazima uifuatilie process ujue hii shamba iko na title deed, lakini kama ina hiyo sio shamba. Hata inaweza kuwa nayo lakini mnunue shamba wawili.
Jesu! I want to go home. I don't want to
Registry index map.
Look at this.
Hey, inachua hiyo.
Baba na register lako.
Ati?
Sio imenitupa.
Index number.
Registry industry.
Really?
Registry industry map.
God have mercy upon us.
Nishaisikia tu kwa TV wakiongea mambo ya shamba.
Siwezi jua ni nini.
Hiyo labda ndio imekuja juzi. What do you say? Inaonyesha mahali shamba yako iko.
Maybe a place where you can get to see all the title deeds.
I think it's a map showing the coordinates of all the different points of the boundaries.
Title deed ndio naona ni more important.
Title deed.
To me, it's the second one, the registry. The map should be more important because if you go to the map and you have a title but you're not on the map, then you don't own the land.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now I know. Oh my God.
Do you have a title deed?
Yes, I do.
You do. Do you have a registry index map?
I don't. Oh my goodness.
Come with me as I go on the streets to find out if people know the difference between a title deed and a registry index map. Najua title deed ni nini?
Najua title deed ni nini, naijua.
Title deed.
What? I've never seen it.
I know what is it.
Title deed. Is it? Title deed.
Sio ni kama ukinunua shamba lazima ukuwe na kesi jini.
Is a certificate that you are given as a landowner.
Do you know what a registry index map is?
Look at this.
Registry index.
I don't know.
Registry index map. Hiyo siwezi kuielewa vile vizuri sana.
Sijaielewa mzuri.
I don't have an idea about that one.
Registry index map, also known as RIM, I think is just a process in the titling process.
Continue.
A document that is required for the titling process. I think titling is a whole encompassing process that has many aspects to it, and the RIM is one of them.
I think title deed.
Title deed, I mean.
As far as any Kenyan knows, title deed or gataito is really the ownership document.
Sio ndio ya muhimu, lazima ukuwe nayo.
God have mercy upon us.
I think both are very much important, but very important ni ile ya registry index. Kwa sababu ukiwa uko na hiyo tuseme in case title deed ikose kukuwa available, ni kama vile ukiwa uko na ID but you don't know your ID number.
Come with me.
Finally, Maze, it feels so good.
Tuko take off sasa.
It's another beautiful day here at Grand Acres in Goshen Acquisitions because we get to hand over a title deed to one of our coolest customers. Not that the others are any less cool, but you know, these ones are a bit special because of our relationship, both professional and personal. And so we're handing over a title deed to an amazing piece of land in a place called Imbuko that we sold to Sauti So, one of Africa's top bands, if not the best one, in my view, the soul of Kenya, I like to call them.
Of course, I'm excited. It has been a long time coming, but then it also shows how diligent this process actually is, you know, and to finally get the title deed, and you know, now it belongs to us. It's now ours, like legally, and that for me is something that's very exciting. That now we have such a big piece of land in such a prime area in the country.
Every time we get to hand over a title deed to a buyer, comes with, it's a bag of beautiful mixed emotions. Number one, just a sense of relief and accomplishment that we have completed the task, because we are obligated by the law and by the clauses in our sale agreements to hand over a title deed to any buyer that we've engaged with. And so from that perspective, it's always, you know, I can breathe a sigh of relief because we have kept our promise.
So that you guys are
I'm officially a landowner thanks to Goshen Acquisitions.
So if you, like Sauti Sol, want to own your limited available piece of Imbuko, which is towards the south of Kajiado, just before the Amboseli ecosystem and the national park with stunning, breathtaking views of Mount Kilimanjaro, you want to give us a call as quickly as you can. Go to our website, www.goshenacquisitions.com. You can also call us directly at 0700010001. Again, that's 0700010001. You can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Instagram. Reach out as quick as you can because we have a very few number of plots or parcels of land available next to these amazing group of guys and every other amazing person who's bought land there. Give us a call as quick as you can. 1 acre plots, residentially zoned for only 799,000 bobs for each one. Give us a call while supply lasts.
Hi, my name is Polycarp Otieno.
Hi, I'm Willis Austin Chimano.
Hello, my name is BNMA Alusa, aka Manabaldman.
Hello, everybody. My name is Savara Mudigi. And guess what? I own land in Kenya. Yes, I do.
The streets are calling and we're ready to answer. Wait, not the streets. But anyway, come with me as I go on the streets to find out if people know the difference between a title deed and a registry index map.
Ni certificate ile ya kuonyesha tikiti hii shamba ni yako.
Title deed ni ya shamba. Land ya shamba yako.
Kitambulisho ya land.
Kama shamba ina hiyo, unajua shamba kwanza ukichukua lazima uifuatilie process ujue hii shamba iko na title deed, lakini kama ina hiyo sio shamba. Hata inaweza kuwa nayo lakini mnunue shamba wawili.
Jesu! I want to go home. I don't want to
Registry index map.
Look at this.
Hey, inachua hiyo.
Baba na register lako.
Ati?
Sio imenitupa.
Index number.
Registry industry.
Really?
Registry industry map.
God have mercy upon us.
Nishaisikia tu kwa TV wakiongea mambo ya shamba.
Sijua ni nini.
Hiyo labda ndio imekuja juzi.
What did you say?
Inaonyesha mahali shamba yako iko.
Maybe a place where you can get to see all the title deeds.
I think it's a map showing the coordinates of all the different points of the boundaries.
Title deed ndio naona ni more important.
Title deed.
To me, it's the second one, the registry.
The map should be more important because if you go to the map and you have a title but you're not on the map, then you don't own the land.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now I know. Oh my God.
Do you have a title deed?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a registry index map?
I don't. Oh my goodness.
Come with me as I go on the streets to find out if people know the difference between a title deed and a registry index map. Najua title deed ni nini?
Najua title deed ni nini? Najua.
Title deed.
What? I've never seen it.
I know what is it.
Title deed. Is it? Title deed.
Sio ni kama ukinunua shamba lazima ukuwe na kesi jini.
Is a certificate that you are given as a landowner.
Do you know what a registry index map is?
Look at this.
Registry index.
I don't know.
Registry index map. Hiyo siwezi kuielewa vile vizuri sana.
Sijaielewa mzuri.
I don't have an idea about that one.
Registry index map, also known as RIM, I think is just a process in the titling process.
Continue.
A document that is required for the titling process. I think titling is a whole encompassing process that has many aspects to it, and the RIM is one of them.
I think title deed.
Title deed, I mean.
As far as any Kenyan knows, title deed or gataito is really the ownership document.
Sio ndio ya muhimu, lazima ukuwe nayo.
God have mercy upon us.
I think both are very much important, but very important in ile registry index, kwa sababu ukiwa uko na hiyo tuseme in case title deed ikose kukuwa available, ni kama vile ukiwa uko na ID but you don't know your ID number.
The streets are calling and we're ready to answer. Wait, not the streets. But anyway, come with me as I go on the streets to find out if people know the difference between a title deed and a registry index map.
Ni certificate ile ya kuonyesha tikiti hii shamba ni yako.
Title deed ni ya shamba. Land ya shamba yako.
Kitambulisho ya land.
Kama shamba ina hiyo, unajua shamba kwanza ukichukua lazima uifuatilie process ujue hii shamba iko na title deed, lakini kama ina hiyo sio shamba. Hata inaweza kuwa nayo lakini mnunue shamba wawili.
Yesu! I want to go home. I don't want to
Registry index map.
Look at this.
Inachua hiyo.
Baba na register lako.
Ati?
Sio imenitupa.
Index number.
Registry industry.
Really?
Registry industry map.
God have mercy upon us.
Greetings and good evening. Thank you so much for those of you who have joined into our second live event. I'm so excited because we get to dive deeper into this whole question of title deeds versus registry index maps, or aka RIM or RIMS. My name is Solomon Wangwe. I am the CEO and MD at Goshen Acquisitions, as well as its wholly owned subsidiary Grand Acres Limited, in case you're wondering who is who. So thank you again for joining in. If you have friends and family who are interested or keen to learn about land investment in general, especially how to do your due diligence and avoid issues, getting conned, getting defrauded, buying the wrong property, please share the link with them quickly. We're live on all our social media platforms, and also send in your questions as soon as you can. So getting right into it. What's more important, the title deed or the registry index map? Huge question. I'm sure most of you would assume or presume that the title deed is a lot more important or the most important document. I went on record many years ago and several months periodically since saying that the title deed is the most useless document in a property transaction. Those were very deliberate words I used, and it is a fact. The reason is this, that the title deed is simply a token document. I'm holding one here. This is an actual title deed, one that we own. Again, we only sell what we own, unlike agents or brokers. Nothing, not to say there's anything wrong with agents or brokers. I'm simply making the distinction between Goshen Acquisitions, Grand Acres, and agencies or brokerages. We only sell what we own, and in my hand I'm holding a title deed in the name of Goshen Acquisitions. This is known universally as the most critical document. That's why many of us in the business will always advertise or include wording in our marketing that says something like clean title ready. What does a clean title mean exactly? And that's a question I'm hoping we can answer mostly today. It's a long and deep issue to discuss. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel before, there's tons of information there where I attempt to explain why. And this is all based on our practical, everyday, day-to-day experience dealing with land specifically within the Republic of Kenya. And so my comments are very specific, deliberate, they're not ill-conceived. And the point is not to cause alarm, it's simply to educate you, share our learnings, and hopefully ensure that you avoid issues in your own land investment or property buying journeys, right? So a title deed is a token representing a file in government records and registries, just like your national ID does. It's a great way to think about a title deed. The same way that your ID would get lost or misplaced or defaced, same as a passport, you can very easily replace that, providing that You follow the steps that are prescribed by the government authority that deals with that document. And the only reason you can replace your ID or passport, or in this case, a title deed, is because, like the other documents, there's a file in the relevant authority's office that contains all the documents that give birth to this document. I hope that makes sense so far, right? And my assertion, qualified, because this is what we do on a daily basis, is that this document is indeed the most useless one in that whole pile of documents. I just want to be clear about that. I am not saying that the title deed is useless or meaningless. Obviously, it's not. It's what you use to engage with bankers. It's what you use to engage with lawyers when you're buying or selling. It's the first step in that process, only the first. Because once you have engaged with this document, there's a series of things you have to do behind the scenes to make sure that this document is legitimate or real, right? And my assertion in today's sort of discussion is that the registry index map is actually more important than your title deed. I know it sounds ludicrous to a lot of people, but I'm going to explain why, right? So when you're buying a property, this document will have details on it, specific ones, to help you get started. Obviously, the first one is the particulars of the property. The land registry number or title number will be listed on there, along with the size or acreage, I would say, of the property. In addition, the third item on a title deed, and this is a freehold title to be specific, there are certificates of lease which are also a kind of title deed, which we will cover in another session. But the third detail here would be the registered owner of record. In other words, the name of the person or entity that owns the property. In this case, it's Goshen Acquisitions Limited. It will also have the date that that title deed was registered in the Ministry of Lands Registry. And then on the second page, which is the page that I like to pay attention to more than the first, because if there's any detail on the second page that does not match the first one, this is where you will normally notice it. And the first one will be, again, the date of registration, size, which is the approximate area, the title deed number, and the owner of record. In this case, again, Goshen Acquisitions Limited. It'll have a third page, which will have space to list encumbrances. That's what it calls that section. Encumbrances simply means things that are preventing the title from clean transactions, so transfers, subdivisions, whatever the case may be. And this is where you may find notations by the Ministry of Lands Registry about succession. For example, if there's an issue with succession of title, someone has died and they need to pass a title deed from the deceased individual to their heirs or successors. If there's fraud issues involved with the title deed, they'll also be listed here. CID or DCI case numbers or file numbers will be listed here. If someone borrowed money from a bank against this title as security, that will also be listed here as a charge by the bank. If there's squabbles within the family or ownership, one could even register a caution. If, say, Goshen Acquisitions is selling to someone and there's legitimate disagreement, unresolved disagreement about what happens in that transaction, you as a buyer could, on the strength of your sale agreement with Goshen Acquisitions, attempt to register what they call a caution on that title. That will also be listed there. Very important page. So when it's nice and blank, that's a good sign, but that should also be confirmed by your search. And there's a fourth page, which will have the serial number for the exact piece of paper that your title deed was printed on. I hope we're together so far. So there are 4 pages on this type of title deed, and this is what everyone expects to be the final authority on a property. Not true, because as I've said before, it is simply a reference to other documents including a green card at the Ministry of Lands, including a mutation form, which I will show you briefly, as well as a registry index map. So today I'm going to be covering specifically what the registry index map is and why it matters. So quick way to think about it is a title deed will show you ownership, registry index map, which I have in front of me. They typically look like this. They're blueprint, very large format sorts of documents. There's usually only one or two originals at the Department of Survey is where you obtain a copy of one. You will pay the department, the cash department, a fee. Typically costs about 300 shillings for a single copy. You will take that receipt with you to the relevant office. They will retrieve the vellum. It's a clear vellum sheet normally at survey department, and then they will proceed to make a copy for you, which is why these look blue, because of the chemicals that they use on the paper. And you have to make sure that it is a certified copy, not just a copy, because if I show you one that's not certified, I could be selling you thin air, and this one indeed is certified. The district surveyor will stamp it, provided that you have paid the required fee to the cash office. And this is what you must be shown when you're buying land. We at Goshen Acquisitions like to give a copy of one to each one of our buyers when we sell to them. It's something that we started doing about 2 years ago when we realized the import of this document. We've always obtained them for our files, but we only started giving them to our buyers from about 2 years ago. So if you're wondering why you didn't get one when you bought from us 8 years ago, that's why. And you're welcome to reach out and we'll be happy to get you a certified copy of the registry index map for your specific property, right? And this document, in our view, means a lot more than the title deed, because it is what proves that your property physically exists within the boundaries of the Republic of Kenya. That's a simple way to think about it. The whole country has been split into grid systems, if you will, where each region is mapped because of survey that's done on the ground, and these exist as registry index maps. And it's on this sheet that any changes to a parcel of land, subdivisions, amalgamations or combinations, they would call them, would be updated so that you understand that the property that you're dealing with is indeed located at a particular location. The reason we like this document more than a title deed is because this document could be easily recreated or created to sell you thin air. I could sell you a piece of land that on the ground in terms of coordinates could literally be in the Indian Ocean. This document here is what proves to you that it does exist on dry ground within the Republic of Kenya, because water areas typically will not be open for transaction or ownership. Those are public, which is why you have issues around riparian spaces and so on. And this is why we like the registry index map as opposed to the mutation form. So with me here, I have a certified copy of the mutation form. I hope you can all see that. This is for one of our properties in this place called Imbuko, a stunning place we have been making noise about, that a lot of people, surprisingly to us, have never heard about. It's in southern Kajiado on the Oloitoktok Highway, about 45 kilometers before the Amboseli ecosystem or Kimana area, for those of you who are familiar with there. This is a mutation form for a piece of land, a 44-acre block of land that we subdivided into 5-acre parcels. Okay, so I'm going to take you through these three documents because both the title and the mutation I'm holding relate very specifically to the registry index map. And anytime someone takes you to a piece of land or is selling you a piece of land and they show you a title or a certified copy of a title without the mutation form, that's a red flag. If they show these to you without the registry index map, that is also a red flag. If they show you any one of these without the other two, that's two red flags. So you always want to view these three together. And I'll quickly show you why and how they do relate to each other. So I'm standing in front of the RIM. The title deed here says Kajiado Kaputier South, specific title number. The registry index map will say the exact same thing. In this case, I'm holding a title to one of the 5-acre blocks, right? This is the mutation form that we used or surrendered to the survey department to propose a subdivision of the 44-acre parcel. We created 8 5-acre blocks because 4 acres went towards a 12-meter wide access road. We like to make ours at least 12 meters wide because that's just better value for you in the future as opposed to 9 meters as is typically accepted by the Department of Survey. In this case, we were the registered owner of record for the 44-acre block. 4938 is the number. Also, we'll say Kajiado Kaputier South, exactly like the title deed. Same as a registry index map. On the second page, it will show you what we propose to subdivide. It will show you the approved land registry numbers by the county surveyor. And this particular one is also illustrated on the mutation form, as well as on the registry index map. Right, so you always want to reference the three against each other. If any detail is missing, then you know you need to investigate further or have corrections made before you proceed, or worst case scenario, you just walk away because it's not worth the risk. You could be dealing with a fraudulent property. And so these two documents don't mean anything without the registry index map, because this is the foundation. If you're going to build a house, think of the registry index map as a foundation and all these other documents as a wall and the roof, because the first thing you see is the title, the walls sort of reference or hold the roof up, and the registry index map is a foundation. Because if it's not indicated or illustrated clearly on the RIM, I could be selling you thin air and you wouldn't know any different, especially if no one's ever told you about a registry index map or an RIM. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to send them in. I'll be happy to answer them as we go along, especially while we're on the live session. Don't be shy, there's no such thing as a dumb question. And if by the off chance we don't know, we will get back to you as quickly as possible.
Can you show them on that screen a few more of documents?
Which one specifically?
Okay. There's some document, they just put with the mutation form.
Okay, so you want me to go through the mutation form again? Would be lovely to have the documents projected on the screen so we can easily, we could probably scan these, would be better. I hope you can see that. This is what a mutation form looks like. Are you sure you can see that? Okay, it'll actually say mutation form. At the top, it'll have Kajiado, the land reference number, basically, for the mother parcel that we have proposed to subdivide or amalgamate, if that is the case. Whatever the action is, it'll be listed here. It'll have the acreage as well. It'll have the registered owner of record at the time the application is made. In this case, it's Goshen Acquisitions. And as I stated before, if someone shows you one of these documents, because the originals are kept under lock and key by the relevant authority, for the mutation forms, it's a survey department, Ministry of Lands. If they're not showing you the original, which they can't, they have to have a certified copy. That's what that stamp is, stamped by the district surveyor on the 9th of May 2022 is when we obtained this copy. And this is what proves to you that this is a copy of an authentic document in the government's custody. You pay 300 bobs for this thing, you present your receipt and they issue it to you. And so that's what the first page will look like. Second page, again real quick, and I know this is a bit technical. This stuff sort of gets us juiced up when we're dealing with them. It may not make sense to the everyday personality who's not dealing with our industry, but it's critical for you to know, especially when you're going to buy land, what to look out for. So kindly track along and make sure you work with licensed professionals whenever you're dealing with these documents. On the second page, that was our proposed subdivision of the 44-acre block of land. We created an access road in so that every parcel of land has direct accessibility. Very important when we're planning subdivisions. We don't like to create spaces where people have to drive behind someone else to access their property. So that's what that page will be. On the third page, if the county surveyor approves, they then issue LR numbers or land reference numbers. That's what these are. In this case, we're looking at 9153 all the way to 9160. There's 8 of them. Each is about slightly more than 5 acres in size. And on the last page, you will have signature of the entity that made the application. In this case, happens to be my signature because I'm the managing director with authority to sign on behalf of Goshen Acquisitions Limited. The company seal will be affixed there. And here we have endorsement by the lands registrar. It's at this point that new title deeds, specifically this along with 7 others, are created, registered, typed, and sealed by the same registrar, if that makes sense. And this is where most of us in the real estate business will stop. Why? Because we already have title deeds. Why do you need to bother with anything else, right? But this is where people go wrong. Unless you get the last portion endorsed, at the bottom where my thumb is, I hope you can see that. This is where the lands registrar endorses. The county surveyor then sends a forwarding letter to the provincial surveyor, right, along with this original copy, fully endorsed. And it's on that basis that they then amend the registry index map. So the registry index map is only amended after that final step, which most people don't complete. And so I know one of the reasons a lot of people have been alarmed about why I stated that the title deed is the most useless document in a property transaction is because many people are holding title deeds and mutation forms even, but they don't have registry index maps. They've never heard of one. No one ever told them about it or gave them a copy, or they've never seen one. The reason that is because, as I've pointed out, most people will stop at that second last step because title deeds are registered. The RAM is only amended or updated once the endorsement is made and the forwarding letter goes to the provincial surveyor. And if you have a title deed but don't have a registry index map, please do yourself a favor as quickly as possible. Identify a licensed surveyor. Make sure they're licensed. Ask them for their documents. Don't just take their word if they tell you that they are licensed, because many will offer services without licensing. So ask them for their documents to prove that they are indeed licensed to practice for this year, because they have to renew their licenses on an annual basis. Give them your copies of your title, mutation form if you have one, and they can go to the Department of Survey and trace your registry index maps. Hopefully your parcel is illustrated clearly on the RIM and you're fine. Obtain yourself a certified copy. Just like the mutation form, this one has been certified. This was 13th of May 2022 when we paid for this particular copy, and then you're good to go. And I'll close with why this is important, more so now as opposed to before, because right now the Ministry of Lands, through its Ardhi Sasa initiative, an awesome initiative, I must say, one that couldn't come too soon, is going to phase out mutation forms and deed plans, because deed plans is what we use for lease properties. Mutation forms is what we use for freehold properties. These are being phased out over time as reference documents because the final authority is the registry index map. So at some point, when they do gazette, as they are required by law to gazette in the dailies, that your region or zone, and they will typically list all the title LR numbers so that you know if your title is ready for new generation version of title, which is required by the new Constitution 2010. Once they do that, there are three main things that they require from you. You present your original title deed to the Ministry of Lands Office. You present your identification documents, which is your title deed, national ID, and PIN certificate. You will also be required to surrender or bring with you a certified copy of the registry index map, clearly illustrating your specific property. Otherwise, then they treat your documents as suspect or have to be investigated further to make sure that they are indeed existing pieces of land within Kenya. If the process was incomplete, then they would complete that before they then issue your new generation title. So the last thing you want to happen is for you to go and surrender your documents for updating, and then you're waiting however long it's going to take them to clear your title for new generation. So get it done now, don't waste time. It's more important than your mutation form. It's more important than your deed plan. It is more important than your title deed, because these can always be replaced provided that your RIM is in place along with your green card, which is in the Ministry of Lands file. So I hope that clears it up for everyone. My point was not that the title deed is meaningless, as a blanket statement. My point was that in the context of everything you need to have secure ownership of land, it is the most useless or meaningless one, or maybe I should say it is the least important one. They are all important, but in the context of a property transaction and the documents that guarantee your secured ownership, it is the most useless one. So if you have more questions about that, please send them in. We're going to take a quick break, 2 minutes, send in your questions, and then we'll answer those when we come back.
Finally, man, it feels so good.
Tuko take off sasa.
It's another beautiful day here at Grand Acres in Goshen Acquisitions, because we get to hand over a title deed to one of our coolest customers. Not that the others are any less cool, but these ones are a bit special because of our relationship, both professional and personal. And so we're handing over a title deed to an amazing piece of land in a place called Imbuko that we sold to Sauti So, one of Africa's top bands, if not the best one, in my view, the soul of Kenya, I like to call them.
Of course, I'm excited. It has been a long time coming, but then it also shows how diligent this process actually is, and to finally get the title deed, and now it belongs to us. It's now ours, like legally, and that for me is something that's very exciting, that now we have such a big piece of land in such a prime area in the country.
Every time we get to hand over a title deed to a buyer, comes with, it's a bag of beautiful mixed emotions. Number one, just a sense of relief and accomplishment that we have completed the task, because we are obligated by the law and by the clauses in our sale agreements to hand over a title deed to any buyer that we've engaged with. And so from that perspective, it's always, I can breathe a sigh of relief because we have kept our promise.
So maybe you guys are supported.
I'm officially a landowner, thanks to Goshen Acquisitions.
So if you, like Sauti Soul, want to own your limited available piece of Imbuko, which is towards the south of Kajiado, just before the Amboseli ecosystem and the national park with stunning, breathtaking views of Mount Kilimanjaro, you want to give us a call as quickly as you can. Go to our website, www.goshenacquisitions.com. You can also call us directly at 0700010001. Again, that's 0700010001. You can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Instagram. Reach out as quick as you can because we have a very few number of plots or parcels of land available next to these amazing group of guys and every other amazing person who's bought land there. Give us a call as quick as you can. 1 acre plots, residentially zoned for only 799,000 bobs for each one. Give us a call while supply lasts.
Hi, my name is Polycarp Otieno.
Hi, I'm Willis Austin Chimano.
Hello, my name is BNMA Alusa, aka Manabaldman.
Hello everybody, my name is Savara Mudigi, and guess what? I own land in Kenya. Yes, I do!
Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned. Again, if you have friends and family who are keen on safe land investment in Kenya, please share the link. Don't leave them out. Make sure that they are empowered with the information they need to have to make safe investments. So jumping real quick into questions, thank you so much for sending in your questions. There's quite a few that have come in. First one is, I have a title deed, but I don't have an RIM. Where can I get an RIM? As I've stated already, registry index maps are kept in the Department of Survey offices. Each place there's a land registry, typically there'll be a survey department. If they don't have it there, they will send you to the provincial headquarters where you can obtain that. And if you have the title deed but don't have the RIM, you can simply go with either your original copy of title or your certified copy of one, present it to the survey office and ask them to retrieve the registry index map for your area, which they can trace easily from the details on the title deed, because it'll have in the LR number or the LR portion names like Kaputier South or Kaputier North, whatever it is that is stated on the title. They can reference that and pull out the RIM for you. As I've said before, it costs about 300 shillings. You pay at the cash office, they issue you a receipt, you present the receipt to the relevant person, they make a copy, and make sure, please make sure, because sometimes they just send you off with the copy, make sure that it is stamped so that you are sure you have a certified copy of the actual document in their custody, right? And in the event that your property is not clearly indicated on the RIM, you can initiate that process with them to have your property indicated there, and they can tell you if there's a problem or not, but at least you would know if there's a problem as opposed to being in the dark or being blind about it, and then you have issues later, right? So other question, Nelly, where's Nelly? Nelly Mutsami, Nelly Mutsami happens to be my mom. Hi mom. So what will the buying process look like once everything is on the RD SASA system? Great question, Mom. I don't know what the buying process will be like exactly. All we know is that they are phasing out the implementation of this initiative. First of all, to clean the records and bring everything under one unified system so that there is coherence in the land reference system. That would be the first step. My guess is it'll take years to get that done. I think they are still working on the first phase for Nairobi alone that they gazetted for. The uptake has been slower than expected or that they liked, but I'm sure that's going to improve over time. And as far as the buying process, you're supposed to be able to do your due diligence, specifically get searches digitally, instantaneously. I'm not sure if they're charging a fee for that process, but That can only be done for a very small section of properties in Kenya right now, and majority of those are in Nairobi. For everywhere else in the country, we're still doing this manually by going to the registry with copies of the title, with copies of your national ID and PIN. You pay the fee, and they tell you to come back for the search certificate. So we don't know, we just have to keep track and hope that Ardhi Sasa takes on speed as quickly as it should. Another question from Nyar KB. Apart from the RIM, does a client get a copy of the mutation form from a seller to support the due diligence process? Yes, yes. First document you need is a certified copy of the title deed. I like to make sure that even if I'm getting a certified copy of the title, that they allow me to look at the actual original title so that I can compare. Am I being given a real copy, or is someone trying to play games with me? So even if they give you a certified copy, make sure you lay your eyes on the original, right? So that's the first that you will need. The other one that you're gonna need is the mutation form. As I've said before, most people are familiar with the mutation form because it's what we readily can handle. It's what most people are familiar with. It'll show you how the parcel was subdivided. The title deed will tell you if the land that you're dealing with was subdivided from a previous parcel, or called a mother parcel. That will usually be on the second page of the title deed, and you can reference the two. And so what I like to tell people is, as important as a mutation form is, it is simply supposed to be a reference to or supporting document for the registry index map, right? The registry index map is the foundation. The mutation form is the walls that stand on the foundation, and the title deed you can think of as the roof that everyone can see from the outside, right? So you want to have all three together at the same time. What's up? How do I distinguish between a fake and a real registry index map? This is from Janet. Thanks for that question, Janet. Well, the only way to distinguish between a real one and a fake one is, as I've said, make sure it is certified as a copy. It'll have a stamp from the district surveyor. And to rule out all other uncertainty, just take the thing with you to the survey department and ask them to confirm that it is an authentic copy of the original. Very simple. It can be a bit of a hassle, especially if you're traveling far away. For instance, for our properties in Nanyuki, while we can obtain certified copies of the mutations in Nanyuki town, where the lands registry is, for the certified copy of RIMs, we have to go all the way to Nakuru, which is a long way away. So understandably, sometimes it's a bit of a hassle logistically, and this is because the survey department is still administered under the old district system. They haven't created county offices for all of these. And so in some cases, you have to go to the former district headquarters to obtain that. And that's how you make sure that you're dealing with a real one versus a fake one. And one more question. What's a mutation form? This is from at Gishangi. I think I've already addressed that. Mutation form, as the name suggests, is a document that you use as prescribed by the survey department to mutate a piece of land, to change its shape, to create different sizes out of it, in some cases to combine or amalgamate different blocks into one larger one. That's what a mutation form is. And again, you can also obtain a certified copy of that. Another question here, does this affect the title conversion process? Yes, absolutely. This is precisely why the registry index map is the most critical document after a green card, in my opinion. The green card is what gives birth to your title and the rest. The registry index map is what is supported by the mutation form. If you had to concede anything, I would say that the green card and the RIM are the most important. But without question, the title deed is secondary to these two documents. So absolutely, when it comes to title conversion for your area, you will need your original copy of your title deed, your identification documents, your ID and PIN certificate or passport, and finally, you will need your registry index map. not your mutation form, not your deed plan, because that's the whole point. They're phasing these out as reference documents in terms of ascertaining the legitimacy or existence, the physical existence of your property within the boundaries of the sovereign Republic of Kenya. I know it sounds like a mouthful, but it's just in a long way to say to make sure that your property actually exists, right? Otherwise, you might have bought thin air. I should point out here also, in terms of the differences between a mutation form and a registry index map, a mutation form will typically show you the LR number and the dimensions of the piece of land, right? It will also show you who the direct neighbors are on either side or on all four sides if you do have neighbors surrounding you, because that sort of tells you where the physical location is relative to your neighbors. But the registry index map, beyond that, will tell you the shape of the piece of land, the shape of the neighboring pieces of land, and beyond that, the whole region. For instance, the one I have in front of me is for Kaputier South. It is sheet number 4. It contains probably, 20,000 acres worth of land on that one sheet. So I can tell you who my neighbors are 5, 6, 7 rows away, and I can accurately reference the physical location of my property. Maybe I should give you an example. A practical example of why this is important. About 10 years ago, we were buying a piece of land in Nanyuki. The owner took us to see the beacon. You know those flat pancake-shaped beacons on the ground? And sure enough, the number that was scribbled on that concrete beacon matched the number on the title deed that we were shown. And so when we initiated the process, one of the things we like to do before we risk too much money, as part of our due diligence, we hired a licensed surveyor to go and confirm the boundaries, dimensions, shape, and all that for this particular property. Shock on us, he came back in his report and said that, listen, the LR number that you're doing your due diligence on is actually positioned 2 kilometers away from the one you are actually shown. Right? So had we not done that, we would have probably bought a piece of land, we'd have fenced it, maybe built a house on it, and one day some random person will come out with pangas and rungus claiming that we grabbed their land, and they would have been right, because what we were shown on the ground was not the accurate physical position of the land we were looking for. And this is why registry index maps are important, because they will show you exactly where your piece of land is as relates to everything else in that locality. Okay, so I hope that helps. Want to do more questions?
What's up? Still have 90 minutes.
Okay. Where can I get my rim in Nanyuki? This is from Gishangi on IG. Thanks for that question. Your registry index maps for Nanyuki you have to obtain from Nakuru. Nakuru town, survey offices, very well-known area. You can't get lost. Everyone will generally direct you there. You can also search on Google. That is where we obtain our certified copies of registry index maps for Nanyuki. Okay? Hope that helps. Another question, why am I only hearing about the registry map now, yet I have 3 titles? This is from Brenda O. That is an awesome and terrifying question all at once. I don't know why you're only hearing about it now, but I'm glad that you are. Because as I've said, it's important as far as title conversion processes are concerned. And I would say the main reason you've never heard of this is because no one you have dealt with was either aware of it or keen enough to educate you about it. And to be frank, sometimes some of us in the industry, and obviously I'm not referring to everyone because we like to think of ourselves as being different, and there are many good practitioners in our industry, but many of us have also capitalized on the ignorance of the general public to defraud them. And so the last thing I'd want to do is give you documents that prove to you that I'm not selling you legitimate land. That could be another reason. We have many customers, for instance, we did a poll once, 60% of our customers have been defrauded or conned before we ever interacted with them. I jokingly say sometimes, but it's sad that getting conned in Kenya is almost a rite of passage before you actually do a good deal, which is sad. And much of that happens simply because of ignorance. No one knows what to look out for. The people who do not readily share that information. This is exactly why we started our YouTube channel, Own Land in Kenya, by Goshen Acquisitions, where we share our everyday experiences, what to look out for, how to do your due diligence, blah, blah, blah. And hopefully that makes an impact. But I'm glad that you now know what a registry index map is, Brenda. And if you need more help with that, feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to give you the necessary references. And another question here, this is a lot of information for the ordinary Mwananchi. Does Goshen Acquisitions, not Goshen, Goshen Acquisitions do this for its customers? And if not, who could help us, Kawa Mwananchi, do this? This is from someone called Yule Jama. Okay, Yule Jama. No, Goshen Acquisitions does not offer this as a service. We are not surveyors. We are not lawyers or advocates. We are not planners. We are simply a private entity that is in the business of buying and selling property. We consider ourselves to be bona fide land developers. That's our focus. We only sell what we own. We never act as agents or brokers. And for those of you who might be agents or brokers, due respect to you, not to say that there's anything wrong with being an agent or a broker. We just like to do things a little bit differently for the sake of our customers. But no, it's not a service we offer. We highly recommend that you seek out the services, professional services of a licensed advocate of the High Court of Kenya, preferably one who focuses on conveyancing transactions, that is commercial property law, because they interact with this a lot more frequently than others, and they would know how to navigate that. You also need to work with a licensed surveyor. Always make sure that they provide you their bona fide documents to prove that they are licensed to practice for that year. Don't just hire them by word of mouth or by reference from someone. Ask them for their documents, because if something does go wrong, the onus will have been on you to make sure that you're working with competent professionals. So if you identify those, they'll be able to help you navigate this and do your due diligence. Okay, couple of questions from YouTube. Samuel Kinuthia, how can I get a certified copy of the green card? Great question. So green cards, as I've mentioned, are kept under lock and key in the Ministry of Lands offices. The only way to obtain a certified copy of one is to make a formal request for it. Usually it's in the form of a letter. You will go to the relevant registry, pay the prescribed fee. We have paid anywhere from 2,500 shillings for that to the cash office. Make sure they give you a Department of Lands receipt for that. You will attach your duplicate copy of the receipt to your letter and request, along with copies of the title that you're requesting for, and then wait for the registrar to issue you a certified copy of that. It can take a little bit of time depending on which registry you're dealing with. We have found over time it's a lot easier to use a licensed advocate in our transactions to do that for us, because by and large, when someone asks for a certified copy of a registry of a green card rather, it usually makes people at the registry uneasy because they don't know why you're asking for it. It's easier for an advocate to explain that they're doing it in the course of conducting due diligence for their client because of a commercial transaction, and they basically have better cooperation from the offices than you would as an individual. This is something we have experienced practically. Although it is your right to do so individually, it's much easier if you do it through a licensed advocate. So seek one out, and they'll be able to obtain a copy for you.
So just let them know that the video will be saved on YouTube after.
Okay, so The team here is telling me or reminding me to tell you that the video we're recording now will remain available for you to view later on our social media platform, YouTube and elsewhere. So don't have any fear about that, and we'll continue to have more sessions like these. Samuel, we've done Samuel. Kevin, would you subtitle the topmost things to look at when buying a huge piece of land? Subtitle. Okay, Kelvin, quickly. The topmost things. Number one, does it have a title deed? Number two, are there any encumbrances or issues with the title deed? Number three, are the boundaries clearly demarcated without dispute from neighbors? This is common for huge parcels of land because boundaries generally have a margin of error, especially in the general boundaries regime. You want to make sure that is clear. Again, get a certified copy of the green card just to be sure that your search report was accurate. And a quick note on that, quick trick we like to use when we're doing a due diligence. If you're going to do a search on a property, make sure you do the normal search first and then go back and get a certified copy of the green card. The reason we do that as opposed to doing them simultaneously at the same time, in other words, is because we have found in some cases, in some registries, you have corrupt individuals colluding with clerks at the registries to present false representation of ownership of property because they're trying to defraud people. If you get a search certificate first and a certified green card later, usually you will flag any issues. If they don't agree, then you know something is off and you can either walk away or investigate further before you risk your money. So just a quick point on that. Try not to do them at the same time, is what I'm saying. Get the search first, then the green card later, and see if they match, okay? Which one specifically?
Number 8.
Okay. The question here from Tuki KGZ. Do you get a beacon certificate as part of this package? Or what's the actual purpose of a beacon certificate? Awesome question. It's not something we have talked about much, but it's something that we do obtain for ourselves when we're buying. A beacon certificate is basically a document issued by the licensed surveyor who has conducted the due diligence about the position, the physical position and coordinates of the boundary of the land. And they'll basically say that they have confirmed the boundary to be such and there's no issue, right? And they'll reference the title number. And you get a certificate for each beacon. So if a property has 5 corners, for instance, or 6, or 3, whatever the case may be, you will get an equal number of certificates for each beacon. That's what a beacon certificate is. It's issued by the licensed professional who has dealt with the property for you, done the survey, or done subdivisions and put the beacons in place. Especially when we subdivide, we like to ask our surveyors for beacon certificates so that if there's an issue later, there's accountability. It is in the open who did the work, they are a licensed professional, and disciplinary action can be taken if need be, and there's no confusion about who is held responsible. So I hope that helps.
You can go back to YouTube, but make sure you forgot ring for Kelvin.
Kelvin.
Yes. Forgot to mention the ring.
Of course, for Kelvin. I mean, that's the whole point for today, is about the rim. Kelvin, make sure you get a certified copy of the rim as well, while you're getting copies of mutation, if there's one. Sometimes there isn't because the piece of land is huge because it exists in the exact same size and shape that it was created by the government of Kenya, whenever that was. You're dealing with an original mother parcel, in which case there would not be a mutation form. But this is why the rim would be important. It would be your only document of reference as far as the physical positioning is concerned. Okay? Any other questions?
Do two more and you'll reach them close.
Helen Cat is asking, what document should one be issued with after purchase of a bungalow? Kindly. Bungalow. Helen Cat, that is a question we shall reserve for when we do a series on developed property. We're dealing with land. I'm not sure if you mean apartment or a single standing structure on a piece of land. Alan Kawamara is asking, are there instances where titles are legitimately issued but RIM not updated? Yes, I would say at least 50, 60, 70% of the time this is the case. Like I pointed out before, the reason it is left incomplete is because titles are usually issued before the registry index map is updated. And many of us in the business are lazy or just don't know how to do it. That's just a fact. Or we're trying to defraud people, right? This is why RIMs might not be updated. So yes, absolutely. And if that's the case, you can have a licensed surveyor pick up that process for you to complete the updating. They will need to have a mutation form and a copy of the title and present to the provincial surveyor, who will then make a judgment call about whether to update it or whether they need other references before they do. But yes, Alan Kawamara, that is the common practice. And I've said this before, 95% of the time, it's simply because the process wasn't completed. But there are instances where the reason it has not been done is simply because of a fraudulent transaction. Someone is trying to sell you land that does not exist because they have shown you a title deed. Doesn't mean that the land exists physically, right? So hope that helps. One more question from Fred Ochieng. Kindly highlight the importance of physical site visits by the purchaser before signing a deal. Fred Ochieng, I think that's actually our surveyor. Thank you, Fred. I actually reached out to Fred before we did this session just to make sure I had all my I's dotted and T's crossed. And that's a great point. Fred Ochieng, in answer to you, Nyar KB, where can you find the list of licensed surveyors? You can visit the board, surveyors board that manages the licensing of surveyors. They can give you a list of licensed surveyors for that year, and you can try and reach out to them. A great way to find good surveyors is by references or referrals. That is how I have typically found our best surveyors. Granted, we have kissed many ugly frogs before we found our princesses in that regard, and we're grateful for that because this is what we do on a daily basis. It's bound to happen. And right there, Mr. Fred Ochieng is an excellent surveyor, very clean work, very professional, and as quick as possible. So I highly recommend his services. Geomar Spatial Services will be happy to share his contacts with you if you like, or you can just DM him directly since you're both online. And yes, he's right. Please, as much as you can, make a physical site visit of the piece of land. There are simple things you can do yourself, even as a layman, a non-professional, to make sure that what you're being sold or what you're being shown matches the information on the documents that are presented to you. And if someone doesn't present you documents, ask for them. Absolutely make them present those to you. We make it part of our completion documents to include title deeds, mutation forms, and now registry index map, especially because of the title conversion process. And you want to make sure you do a site visit. For those of you who are in the diaspora that may not be physically present to do a site visit, you can trust someone, competent person with the right mentality to do that for you, which happens a lot with a lot of our customers. I think about 50% of our customers currently are diaspora based, so it's something we see very commonly. And it's also one of the main reasons we at Goshen Acquisitions and Grand Acres invest heavily in documenting our sites as accurately as possible. We never use stock images from random internet sources to portray the condition of our sites. We take actual photographers to our site to take photos of the site in its as-is condition, drone photos, videos, virtual tours, all of that. If you're unfamiliar with what that looks like, go to our website, check it out, check our social media handles. It's very important that you do a physical site visit, and in case you can't, find someone you trust to do that for you.
Last question, William, and then please.
Okay, we're going to take one more question. This is from William Nalika, a foreigner, me from KLA, no idea where that is. Sorry? Kampala, maybe Kampala. A foreigner trying to buy a piece of land for development. What are my hurdles? Wow, okay. There are many. First of all, are you here physically to inspect the property? That's one concern. If you're not, do you have licensed professionals to do that for you? That's another concern. I think the most critical one, even before all of those, because those can be easily confirmed, is are you buying a property that you as a foreigner are permitted by law to buy or own? And by this, I am referring to freehold versus leasehold properties. The titles I showed earlier, these are for freehold properties. That's predominantly what we deal with. We like freehold because we don't pay rents to the national government and we have absolute ownership forever in theory, right? Assuming the world never ends, my children, my great-grandchildren will inherit this property without any issue. You have absolute ownership. It actually says that on the second page of the title deed. Nature of title, absolute. It basically means that you have absolute ownership. It's not time restricted like leasehold. And this is the main difference between leasehold and freehold. Leasehold titles will have an expiration date for ownership. 99 years is the longest under the new constitution. And according to the 2010 constitution, foreigners are not permitted to own freehold land in Kenya. You can only own leasehold property. That would be my biggest thing to look out for. Don't let anyone purport to be selling you freehold land. And there are many schemes that have been hatched to get a foreigner to own freehold land. For instance, they'll tell you you can register a company with a Kenyan director and then own the property in the name of the company with both of you as directors. That is false. The moment you as a foreigner own any share in that company, it is disqualified, even if it's 0.001% shares, that company is disqualified from owning freehold land. So the best way to go about it is to convert that freehold title into leasehold. It's a very specific process to follow as prescribed by the Ministry of Lands. There's a little bit of a cost implication on that. We're actually doing that for a number of our customers, foreigners, where we are converting these freehold titles into leasehold certificates. Hopefully they will be brand new 99-year leases, renewable. It's costing us in the region of 250,000 shillings for legal fees, as quoted by our advocate. I'm sure that could vary depending on which advocate you're using, but that's the only way a foreigner can own land in Kenya is if it is leasehold. Now, if you're interested in a property that happens to be freehold at the time that you're buying, you have to convert it into leasehold. So just look out for that and work with licensed professionals always. I hope that session has been helpful to all of you. If you have any more questions, feel free to send them through. We'll be happy to respond as the week goes on. And remember, you never want to take shortcuts. You want to invest safely and ethically. Don't pay bribes. Don't do combo business. Your money is not worth losing. Have a bit more respect for the pain and the effort you've gone into putting together the capital, and also thinking about your future heirs. You don't want to leave them in problems, so do it right. Work with licensed professionals, and you should be good to go.
We got a question on our WhatsApp from Fred. We've not asked any from that, so we need to ask it.
From
Yes.
Fred Ochieng. Okay. Okay. I have been pressured into answering one more question. And this is talk about where Goshen land pieces available for sale. Is that the question?
No, the next one. Where? Sorry.
There is no next one. Okay, someone is saying the highlighted one, huh? Okay. Hi Solomon, I see you have an online Q&A coming up shortly. I may not be available to attend, but I had the following questions. One, why are municipalities requiring land rates on parcels of land that are designated as freehold? That's an awesome question. So traditionally, you would not expect rates to be charged on freehold properties. That's the whole point of it being called freehold. But the truth is, freehold properties are only exempt from rents. Rents are charged by the national government. Rates are charged by county governments or municipalities, as has been referenced here. Now, according to the new constitution, the county governments have the legal leeway to determine whether or not to charge rates, even when it is freehold. We have seen that happen in places like Nanyuki, Laikipia County, where we pay rates for freehold land. That's just a reality. The only thing that you're sure is that freehold is exempt from rent to national government. That's the best answer I can give you. I hope that clarifies. It's not illegal for them to charge. There's a little bit of a debate about that, and I think there's an issue of the legal framework that is allowing or permitting them to charge rates on freehold land, because if you don't pay it, then they don't allow you to transact. Even the Land Control Board does not allow you to transact, or the Ministry of Lands doesn't allow you to transact. So unfortunately, we are subjected to that. Until such a time that is made cleaner, it is just a reality. And again, work with a licensed advocate and professionals to help you navigate that. I hope that helps.
Now, where does Goshen have land?
Where does Goshen Acquisitions have land? We have land in many different places. We only like to talk about them when we are ready to interact with the market. We have learned from experience that it is easier that way. But places like Imbuko, I know many of you were interested in Imbuko 3, where we had 1 acre parcels of land available. Those sold out faster than we imagined, thank goodness. But for those of you who missed out, we do have Imbuko 4. The ones I just pointed out, I think there's only 3 parcels remaining as of today. Probably will be sold out by the time the weekend is over. We're also very busy in Nanyuki, we're busy in Naivasha and Lake Elementaita, and soon we will also be quite busy at the coast because many have asked for beachfronting land, which we are working on. So just check out our website and stay abreast of what we have available, and we'll be happy to let you know when something is coming up.
And the live is there? This live is still there?
Again, reminder that this live is available on our social media platforms for you to view later. Share them widely with your friends. Send in your questions. We're happy to engage with you. And I want to thank you sincerely for making time to listen to us share about these important documents. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Cheers.
Come with me as I go on the streets to find out if people know the difference between a title deed and a registry index map. Najua title deed ni nini?
Najua title deed ni nini? Najua.
Title deed.
What? I've never seen it. I know what is it. Title deed.
Is it?
Title deed.
Sio ni kama ukinunua shamba lazima ukuwe na kesi jini.
Is a certificate that you are given as a landowner.
Do you know what a registry index map is?
Look at this.
Registry index.
I don't know.
Registry index map. Hiyo siwezi kuielewa vile vizuri sana.
Sijaielewa mzuri.
I don't have an idea about that one.
Registry index map, also known as RIM, I think is just a process in the titling process.
Continue.
A document that is required for the titling process. I think titling is a whole encompassing process that has many aspects to it, and the RIM is one of them.
think title deed.
Title deed, I mean.
As far as any Kenyan knows, title deed or gataito is really the ownership document.
Sio ndio ya muhimu, lazima ukuwe nayo.
God have mercy upon us.
I think both are very much important, but very important ni ile ya registry index. Kwa sababu ukiwa uko na hiyo tuseme
The streets are calling and we're ready to answer. Not the streets. But anyway, come with me as I go on the streets to find out if people know the difference between a title deed and a registry index map.
Ni certificate ile ya kuonyesha tikiti hii shamba ni yako.
Title deed ni ya shamba. Land ya shamba yako.
Kitambulisho ya land.
Kama shamba ina hiyo, unajua shamba kwanza ukichukua lazima uifuatilie process ujue hii shamba iko na title deed, lakini kama ina hiyo sio shamba. Hata inaweza kuwa nayo lakini mnunue shamba wawili.
Jesu! I want to go home. I don't want to.
Registry index map.
Look at this.
Inachua hiyo.
Mapa na register lako.
Ati?
Sio imenitupa.
Index number.
Registry industry.
Really?
Registry industry map.
God have mercy upon us.
Nishaisikia tu kwa TV wakiongea mambo ya shamba.
Sijua ni nini.
Hiyo labda ndio imekuja juzi.
What did you say?
Inaonyesha mahali shamba yako iko.
Maybe a place where you can get to see all the title deeds.
I think it's a map showing the coordinates of all the different points of the boundaries.
Title deed ndio naona ni more important.
Title deed.
To me, it's the second one, the registry.
The map should be more important because if you go to the map and you have a title but you're not on the map, then you don't own the land.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now I know. Oh my God.
Do you have a title deed?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a registry index map?
I don't. Oh my goodness.
Come with me as I go on the streets to find out if people know the difference between a title deed and a registry index map. Najua title deed ni nini?
Najua title deed ni nini, najua.
Title deed.
What? I've never seen it.
I know what is it.
Title deed.
Is it?
Title deed.
Sio ni kama ukinunua shamba lazima ukuwe na kesi jini.
Is a certificate that you are given as a landowner.
Do you know what a registry index map is?
Look at this.
Registry index.
I don't know.
registry index map. Hiyo siwezi kuielewa vile vizuri sana.
Sijaielewa mzuri.
I don't have an idea about that one.
Registry index map, also known as RIM, I think is just a process in the titling process.
Continue.
A document that is required for the titling process. I think titling is a whole encompassing process that has many aspects to it, and the RIM is one of them.
I think title deed.
Title deed, I mean.
As far as any Kenyan knows, title deed or gataito is really the ownership document.
Sio ndio ya muhimu, lazima ukuwe nayo.
God have mercy upon us.
I think both are very much important, but very important ni ile ya registry index. Kwa sababu ukiwa uko na hiyo tuseme in case title deed ikose kukuwa available, ni kama vile ukiwa uko na ID but you don't know your ID number.